I've really been a bit harsh there, haven't I? I've ripped him a new one. Good morning, it's day 2 in Edinburgh. It's the 31st of October. We are going to Holyrood Park today. We're going to get some really nice shots from the top of there. It's a beautiful, clear day and it's really sunny as well. Oh yeah, I need to ask what time we're going to check out as well. Right, Andy, that's for you.
Thank you.
Expert pourer.
Yeah. I'm excited for today.
Yeah.
Lighting's nice actually.
We're leaving tomorrow. What time do we need to check out?
It's 12 o'clock.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Cheers. What's your initial thoughts of the pub then?
I like it. I like the idea of simplicity and everything being compact, making a really good use of space. I really like that. I like that it's modern and quite a fresh idea. Say my criticisms are, it's kind of shit not having a kettle in the room.
Yeah.
But that's because I'm a full-on addict. So if I don't have a kettle close to me, I get pretty tetchy.
Yeah.
You can control them quite well, like you can have them dimly lit or really bright. But the only problem is it's on a sensor. So it senses your movement, so you can turn the lights on and off, you can turn the aircon on and off just with your head because it's right next to the bed.
Yeah.
So that's pretty annoying because obviously we don't want the aircon, well I don't want the aircon on because it's too cold. And the other criticism was that we use the smart TV in the room. I mean it's good to have that because you can go on YouTube. The most annoying thing about it was kind of hard to control. I think the remote wasn't very responsive, was it?
No.
But I suppose that's from overuse. And when we looked at the movies, nearly all of the movies had Tom Cruise in. And I'm not bothered, I mean, you know, I think Tom Cruise is alright, I haven't got no against him. Sorry, Tom.
What about the categories though?
Oh yeah, so they kept repeating the same movies again in similar categories. So for example, popular had like action movies in there, then you had the action movies section as well. And guess what? Most of them had Tom Cruise in. In the thriller category, there was only 3 movies. So we watched one of them, didn't we? We watched Mother, which, you know, I'm not going to go there, but thankfully Tom Cruise wasn't in one of those movies. Sorry, Tom. But in all the other categories, there were loads of Tom Cruise movies. It was insane. You've got your bathroom. There's a gap about that big between the door. So if you wanted to spy on someone, you could easily spy on someone on the toilet. And also, the lock doesn't work very well. Oh, you tried it, didn't you?
You don't work at all?
It don't work at all. I didn't try it because I thought, what's the point? We're in a room, I'm practically shitting next to where I sleep anyway. So why is it going to make any difference if someone walks in? I've really been a bit harsh there, haven't I? I've ripped him a new one. But I didn't mean to do that. I think the woodland trail begins. It's nice to see something like this in a city, isn't it? Like you've got the convenience of being in a city and having shops and food and whatever and liveliness, but then you've got this nature as well. That's something that we just couldn't find in London, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we found that really nice park, I think it was Russell Square. That was really nice, but it was not like nothing compared to a big, massive mountain. Are you ready to make this rock your bitch?
Hell yes I am.
I am too.
Let's fucking do it!
Got to make this road our bitch first.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Woohoo! To be the best, you've got to pass the test. You've got to climb all the way to the top of the mountain.
to go?
So it starts there and it goes round.
Alright, cool.
Perfect place to propose to someone. I'm joking. Or am I?
How do you feel in this moment?
Out of breath. Wow, I feel quite unfit. No, I'm glad I did go up here. It's really beautiful. It's worth the walk. People up there. And there's also some really, really nice churches in Edinburgh as well. There's St Giles Cathedral that's really beautiful. So yeah, oh gosh, it's getting a bit windy. Thought I was going to lose my phone then. We are quite close to the edge. That's the edge. So I don't want to fall. I don't want to drop my phone. Right. Right, that's enough from us now because my hand is starting to freeze.
And this is behind the scenes of behind the scenes.
It is. Oh wow, 1 minute, I'm really zoomed in on your face, Andy. There you go.
I'm dribbling snot as well from my nose. So.
I know, we've got watering eyes and snotty noses, it's really cold here.
Cat just did a Facebook Live, but we didn't really get anybody watching apart from one person, I think.
Yeah.
We
Went
shouldn't have
on
much
long
friends.
though. Yeah, I know, he just burned me.
Only on Facebook though, you know.
You do know that we are very close to an edge right here, Andy.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm aware of that.
And you've got more weight on you than me. So if you were to have a terrible fall, it would be very difficult for you.
We're very unfortunate. You enjoying the view?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yep, we're just drinking in this view.
Absorbing it.
Yeah. I like being up high and watching things, like watching people walk or watching buses or just watch people go about the business.
Nah. You nosy Parker.
Yeah. It's not really to be perverse or anything like that or to feel powerful, it's just to observe, just to see what's going on, just to watch how it's kind of like looking through, it's kind of like watching a TV show of what life is like when you're really busy. Like most of the time people are just rushing around, aren't they? And then sometimes when you come somewhere like this and you can see the city and you can just see people rushing about and walking about, it feels weird. It feels like this mountain don't belong here. Edinburgh is fucking beautiful.
To me, the funny thing is I think you can actually be more creative when you have the limitations.
No, I would concur. I actually think when you have complete... You see this a lot with a lot of really good film directors. You give them no limitations and they get overindulgent.
Yeah.
So I mean, the best ones don't. The best ones, you know, with no limitations, still make the same quality. Yeah. But some of them just get so indulgent. They do what they like. There's a phrase that I coined in some of my writing about a year ago. I call it the newspaper principle, which is when making art, sometimes you need a man with a rolled up newspaper stood behind you to hit you on the back of the head when you have a bad suggestion. Because honestly, the amount of like good stories or good filmmakers or other people who have an idea or make something with no limitations, and there's no one there who stands behind them and goes, "That's rubbish, whack," and doesn't like that, they just go ahead and do something that's misguided. Like you always need someone to look at you and go, "I'm going to tell you straight, that concept is ludicrous, or that thing is not good, or that thing is going to you do need that newspaper guy stood behind you to tell you when you're going wrong. It isn't always about just your vision, because somewhere along the line your vision gets messy because you have drafts. When you redraft things lots of times because of the limitation they pose upon you, you write something the budget's too high, so you write another draft that cuts things down, and then you can't get approval for something, so you cut it down again, and each draft improves. It feels like you're making it worse when you start each draft because you know you have to cut something out, but it improves. When you go back at the end of the project, you got each draft improved. You need to have that process of whittling out what's not working. You need people who will tell you what to whittle out. You need to separate the wheat from the chaff, and that, like, literally, like, just go.
To help separate the wheat from the bullshit.
But Tarantino's exactly who I use as the newspaper example, because he's a filmmaker who so often I'm like, you needed someone to tell you that scene was stupid, because he makes really good. But have you seen his latest film?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's really good, but like the Bruce Lee scene, for example, someone should have whacked him and gone, that is a waste of time. It doesn't work.
It's offensive to Bruce Lee as well.
Yeah, it's offensive. It misrepresents his philosophy. It makes no sense.
So my hair's messy again, as always. You're probably used to that by now. I've kind of given up on my hair. So I want to talk to Catherine here in this moment and say that I'm grateful for you for having the image and the vision to come to Edinburgh. And I feel grateful in this moment to experience this. And also, a lot of other times we've been abroad and we've been on holidays and had adventures. It's often been Catherine that's had a vision and had a desire to do it, and then we've done it. So I feel grateful for that, to have Catherine in my life and to challenge me to go to new places and try. She's the navigator. I'm the one that gets lost and gets confused. and she's like, "This is the way." Even though at times actually I've done it. I've taken over at times as well. So you have. Sometimes you've been like, "Oh, let's give up and not get to." Like when we were in London, Kat was like, "Oh, it's because basically Trump was coming when we arrived." So she was like, "Oh, let's just give up. We can't get to Buckingham Palace because everything was cordoned off."
Oh God, yeah, that was so frustrating.
Everything was cordoned off, so we had to go a really dodgy route. But I was like, "Nope, let's keep going. We'll get there."
It took us 45 minutes to get to Buckingham Palace from the Mall because we had to do a massive detour, but we stuck to it and we had a really good time, didn't we? So that was you keeping the determination going.
Yeah, I was like
the navigator because I was like, well, Buckingham Palace is that way. So if we go around and head back on ourselves, we'll find our way back round. And eventually we did. And we got to see the Ritz Hotel as well, actually. We wouldn't have seen that if we hadn't have had that detour. So that was cool.
But usually Catherine is the one that's like saying, we could do it, even if we ain't got loads of money, but we've got enough money to do it, let's do it. And not thinking like a scarcity mindset. So even though I've helped you with getting a more abundance mindset, you've helped me as well. It's like we both helped each other to keep that abundance mindset, and when Catherine wants to do something, she does it. Like when she met me, for example, she approached me in the street and said, "Here's my
street attraction."
She was like,
the BBC are going to come and interview me soon.
Yeah, she's the woman equivalent of street attraction or pickup day game. She had the day game down. You know?
I've only done it once. BBC, please don't arrest me.
And don't take the YouTube channel down.
Yeah.
It's alright. We're not going to film sex, so it's all good.
Yeah.
We won't get taken
We're not
down.
planning on doing that.
Like when we first met, she had that same kind of energy of like, "Oh, I see him, I like him, I'm attracted to him, so I'm going to go over and speak to him." And follow that intuition that says, "You want to speak to him, don't you?" And he's like, and you're like, "Yes, I do, intuition." I said, "Okay, well, then do it then." And I was like, "Okay, intuition, I'll do it." And you trusted that voice that said, "Do it," and you did it. And then so many other times you've done it, like when we went to Paris or we went to Rome, and we explored new places and learned from different cultures and stuff. And we've not done the massive amount of travelling yet, but when we've done it, it's felt like a push for me. It felt like a stretch for me to stretch myself, and it probably felt like a stretch for you as well.
It did, yeah. I mean, it does feel like a stretch for me because I used to suffer from really bad homesickness when I was younger. So when I was a kid and I used to get really bad homesickness, I never could imagine myself going on holiday as an adult because it was so bad. And sometimes before I go on holiday, I get that feeling coming up again, like, oh, I don't want to go. And I think it's down to fear of something bad happening while I'm away. And are we going to have enough money? What if this happens? And I do go through all that anxiety, but the drive to do it is more important than all the anxiety. Like, that's all just bullshit that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so you've always had that, haven't you? You've always had that feeling of like it's more important to do what I want than to than to think about the money and to think about all the rationalities and all.
Well, that's it,
and to think your way out of it. You're like, no, we'll find a way because we've got abundance, we've got access to it, and that's how it's worked with our relationship. You've had that.
People on the autism spectrum will have issues socialising, and that affects the communication part of the brain. So they'll find it really difficult in a time in the moment to express how they feel, and sort of have difficulty in painting how they feel. And I think that's where I want my podcast to be, is be able to sort of later on look back at a situation and go and paint how I felt in an environment that I feel safe in being in, which is a radio studio, funnily enough.
One of the things that was my intention with starting the documentary was I want to talk with new people and start, and it's a way to create new opportunities.
It's for definite.
And I'd like to help you out on your podcast as well. It sounds like something that I'd be interested in helping out with. And I think it would be really interesting in this instance, show me and you working together to, starting from this point, is like in fruition.
Yes.
Into the idea, and we both make it a reality. And the audience now knows who Callum is, and then let's see what happened with Callum, and then let's see how Andy can help Callum, and Callum can help Andy, and show a journey of two characters. You know?
Well, it very much radio's like that. You might be the shyest person in the world, which I am sometimes, outside a studio, and you go inside a radio studio and you're a completely different person. It's you know, like you say, it is about personas and how people feel about themselves at the end of the day. Yeah, I'd love for you to document that progress.
Yeah, because it'd be interesting if you were documenting it and I was documenting you documenting it. It's like interesting meta kind of situation.
That would be very meta if there's two different angles at the end.
I think it's awesome though. Like if you can be meta, it's forever. It's awesome. it's like the Inception.
That would be Inception was very meta. Yeah. Too meta in my opinion. If there was a meta scale. As such, it would be at the the sort of the glass breaking and the arrow sort of tilting to the end point.
Through this journey, I'm going to meet new people, and the audience will get to know them, but then also I'll be obviously getting to know them as well.
But
and then opportunities will come up, and I'll be like, right, I'll film this, document this opportunity that we're both in. The audience now knows this new person, and they're a character in this film. And we're both characters, and it's like, oh yeah, I know that person. When you're familiar with that, I feel like for me, what's the biggest intention is to find a close net of people that I have a connection with, that we can show like almost intimate in a way, because it's like, this is our connection, this is our friendship, and this is our partnership and co-creation. And then like just show them that,
Fantastic. That would be great. Because I'm definitely going to try and record. I'd like to record episodes here, so get guests from around Leeds, the Leeds business community, and use environments like this, the office spaces, to be able to share those stories, share those experiences. It'd be great to have you. Great to have you on board.
Oh, you got some block on your nose. Oh, I wiped it off and then wiped it back on again. Whoops.
I was chilling here with the Divine Feminine. I'm just lying on Catherine.
You are.
With a Divine Feminine essence looking after me. As a man, it's good to be vulnerable and to also to surrender to the feminine essence and to embrace that love instead of feeling like you need to be the one protecting all the time. It can be reversed also. Nature is our home, so we can just relax in it like I'm doing right now. Just chilling.
I thought I'd better get it because we've got the camera. Yep, just as we left it, a complete mess. Come on then, baby, let's go.
So it's the last day in Edinburgh. We're about to leave the hotel at 12 o'clock. It's about, 11:30 or 11:10 at the moment. We're going to kind of relax a little bit today, and we were going to go home about 6 o'clock. Walking up the mountain yesterday, there was a few different feelings that were provoked and on that experience. It felt like nerve-wracking at times, but as we went along, it didn't really feel like a big deal anymore, but it was just at times it felt like a big deal. It was just a gradual walk, and it got to a point when it got steeper, and I was thinking, okay, this is now. It kind of hit me, the reality hit me of how much what we're doing, and then it was getting steeper, so it was like a bit more of a challenge, and there was a part of me inside internally that was saying like, oh my god, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this. I was like thinking maybe I should go back. So it was just that little bit of fear that came up, and you just go over that little hurdle, and oftentimes that's what happens in life. It's just a little hurdle, but in your mind it paints such a big picture in your imagination of like, it's going to be really hard all the way through, it's going to be really scary all the way through. But for me, it was just that one experience, that one fear that I overcome, and then I was like, yeah, I'm okay now. It's such a massive thing that you're looking at, and then there's a big drop. So it's something that you're not used to looking at, that grandiosity and that power of nature. We're not used to having that in everyday life, so when you're there, it's a bit of a shock. I think one thing that is like we've shown the behind the scenes of creative projects, and that's one thing that we've done. So I think that's something that we can keep doing. Yeah. She's been creative with the photography ideas and stuff. So I want to do more of that, showing us doing creative projects together and behind the scenes of.
So the questions like, what do you think is the most important thing in a relationship?
Yeah. What's been the biggest growth that you've had together as a couple? Something like that. So me and Kat have just been brainstorming about what we want to do next with the documentary, and one idea came that we could do vox pops with people in different cities. We're not going to do it today because we've got to want to do other things today, but we just wanted to keep the ideas flowing and see what we can bring in next. So when we travel to new places, we can get different perspectives from different cultures around the ideas of, you know, conscious relationships and what people think about the concept of conscious union. So we were thinking, what is the themes of this documentary? Like, I started with the themes of, you know, spirituality and relationships and creativity, and I think it's still staying with that. That still feels like that's what I want to keep those themes together. And I want to see where it goes and what other themes come up as we go along. But right now, those 3 themes are the main ones that are coming up. Even though the spirituality is not coming into it that as much as I thought it might. So I would like to bring more of that in there. And I had ideas before about interviewing people like spiritual teachers and things like that. Because at the moment it feels like the creativity and the relationships has been the 2 things that have been coming out of this together so far. In terms of the creativity, we've been showing you behind the scenes of some creative projects we've done, like when we were doing the Dark Awakening music video and when we were doing a photo shoot with Eleanor Hodgson. So we've shown a few creative projects so far, and also interviewed people that are creative. It'd also be interesting to get other people's perspectives that aren't creative or don't see themselves as creative, and maybe finding what is creative about their perspective, even though they might not see themselves as creative, because I think it's interesting when it comes to exploring identity around that. A lot of people say I'm not a creative person, but then really they are to a certain extent, because I think creativity comes down to innovation a lot, of how can you bring in something new and fresh, and something that at first seems like nonsense or unusual or weirdness, and then people start to accept that as a new thing that's normal now. When people have innovated, at first it was strange, and then it just becomes the norm, and you're like, okay, that's normal now, because it's not unknown anymore. People know about it now and it's established. So that's why I think that people from all different perspectives can bring in their creativity. So I'm excited to see what the next chapter of the journey will be. Bring it on.